Where are we going, Lonnie?
We are going to pick up a motorcycle that we're probably going to strip the engine off of and put on a go-kart.
So yeah, I've had a AR sitting in my bedroom for a while, and I like guns a lot, but I like go-karts a little bit better. So I'm going to actually trade this AR-15 for this motorcycle. Now I know a lot of people are going to say that the motorcycle isn't worth as much as the AR, but the market's actually flooded with ARs ever since everybody thought guns was going to get banned. So people went and bought ARs like crazy. Now they see they're not going to be banned, so the market's flooded. So I think it's going to be a pretty sweet deal. It's a twin cylinder 250 Lifan. I think it's like a LT 250 or something like that. But it's twin cylinder, it's like 18 horsepower, electric start, and it has gears. So I think that would make an awesome street go-kart version too. What do you think?
Better version.
Yeah.
Hopefully not cursed.
Yeah, because we're going to build a whole complete frame and everything. So let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Let's do it.
I tell you, this has been one long ride. Way longer than I'd anticipated. Okay, when me and Lonnie goes on an hour, 10-minute journey, it takes about 2 hours. That's why we was late getting to the motel. Show them the view. We're going to get murdered out here. Murdered. Redbeard's garage. Over.
You've arrived. We've arrived. It's summer right here. Hey, what you doing there, Greg?
Chopper. So we got this bike back home last night and it was too late. We didn't want to do nothing with it. Come closer, please.
I could.
You will. So that right there is just a pulse pump, just like this. You notice it's even got the same, you know, variation of lines. So I'm just going to swap this one out with this new one, and hopefully the carb isn't dirty and we can start this thing. I think the diaphragm's messed up on this, so just a couple of not tightened bolts. The guys have been in this.
That's nice.
Well, that one ain't. But I'm going to take this off and we'll see if we can get this thing running because I want to ride it.
So as you can see, it's air cooled, which most motorcycles are still today. Doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, they are. My dirt bike has liquid cool.
Yeah.
These shocks seem pretty worn out. I can grab the front brake and barely put any body weight on it and just collapse them. So.
Well, it's probably just cheap because it only has 1,000 miles on it.
Yeah, it was made in China. That might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Looks good though. I think we can make it look pretty good.
If we can get a title.
Yeah, it did come without a title, so if we can't get that, this engine's probably going on a shifter cart.
Yes. You know, I know people's going to say you traded an AR for this, but in reality, to buy a twin cylinder electric start motor that has gears, I mean, you would spend, if you think about it, a 420 and a 40 series torque converter, that's $800 right there. So at the very least, this motor's worth $800. So this motor new is like $1,100 or $1,200 from China. So it was a good deal.
And I like the dual pipes on it.
Yeah, we'll probably take the baffles out and make it louder.
Oh yeah.
Probably immediately, most likely.
Today.
So basically the wiring on this thing, show them the wires where the battery box was.
It's janky.
Yeah, and this is the thing, this bike had 1,000 miles on it, and like right now,
that's all electrical tape, by the way.
Yeah, and right now,
Zip
like
ties.
This was just twisted around the cool pack wires, so I'm putting connectors on it, just some crimp-ons, and it's just weird. Like, why would there be this much? Like, okay, if someone says it's probably stolen, well, you know, I 50% thought that could be a possibility when I got it, but they wouldn't have to do this much rigging. I mean, motorcycles and four-wheelers, if you really want to steal one, they're not that hard. I mean, you could honestly, they're probably one of the easiest things to steal. Basically, I got to find out, I'm going to pull the plugs and make sure it's getting fire, because I know it's getting gas. That doesn't look too good. That ripped boot. It inducts through this, and there's a filter that looks kind of like this. I mean, this is just a fake filler one that kind of just sits right here just to match the opposite side, so really that can be taken off. So now we're going to test and see if it gets fire. I got new connectors on that, and because there's a lot of cut wires back there on the back of the engine.
Oh yeah, it's a It's a mess.
Probably, if I'd have noticed more of this, I might have second guessed it, but I mean, I know I can get it running.
Just might take a little more work than we had anticipated.
Yeah, more than I wanted to do at this point in my life. So I pulled this carb apart and I took the jets out and looked at it, and it's actually really clean inside here. The bowl, I mean, had a tiny bit of stuff in it, as you can see. Is it focusing? Mm-hmm. But nothing that, I mean, I'm gonna clean this out, but it's weird. The choke didn't seem to be working. It has a slide, which is a strange carburetor, but I've not worked on much bikes. It is a true Mikuni, but the choke goes through right here, and vacuum draws, you know, well, that's not connected because the bowl actually connects that. That's on top. But I don't know, it's all strange. It's very strange. We had this thing in the garage. It's been like a year ago, I'd say. That's what that video footage. Oh, there's just the screws for this, the bolts. But we had this motorcycle in the garage like a year ago. I did some trading and got this thing and didn't realize how much wiring mess there was under the seat. They hit it pretty well. The bike would turn over when I got it, but wouldn't fire. But you could hear it, if you rolled it off, you could hear it wanting to start. So I knew the engine was good. It had good compression and everything. And it's only got 1,027 miles on it, which this is a Lifan LF250, which is the same thing as a Yamaha Virago. From what I've read on the internet, actually Yamaha used Lifan engines on their bikes since like the 80s on certain bikes, like the one that replicates this. So we took it apart. We found out this wiring harness it came with a switch and a key and everything. So it's not like I think it was hot wired or anything, but front of the harness is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. Then you get to the back and it's just absolutely trash. Like they've cut everything off. And I'm missing connectors, so I could fix this with the wiring diagram. But I went and bought a Yamaha Virago wiring harness thinking maybe it would be the same since they use the same exact engine. It actually ended up having different connectors and different color wires, so that was going to take a ridiculous amount of time to wire. So Lifan finally contacted us about doing some videos with them. So I was like, hey, I need a wiring harness for this bike. They put me in contact with a company that sold me this for dealer cost, which was awesome. This was like 120 shipped. It was supposed to be like 160 shipped. So we got a brand new wiring harness, should be plug and play. So this one's trash. We also got 2 new coils because these coil packs, you know, the ends, I could have crimped new ends on them, but they're all busted off and crusty. We are going to have to wire up the key switch because when they mess up the wires, they cut off the harness. We have, so 2 new coil packs. I bought a new manifold neck that goes on the head just because these are bad about cracking, and just in case that had a crack, I didn't want that to slow us down because this thing has been sitting for 27 years. So I bought a brand new carburetor too because it was only $50, and the guy when I got the bike was like, I took that carb apart and it's the craziest carb I've ever seen. We messed around with it, so most likely that thing's trash. So there's the Yamaha wiring harness. It was still left in the bike. Nothing was wrong with this. It's perfectly good wiring harness. Like I said, all the connectors for like the hand controls and the mile per hour gauge, the speedometer was different. So that's why, and I didn't want to go through, you know, rewiring it. For 120 bucks, I would much rather just buy something. Alright guys, I know there was not a lot of work done in this video, but I've had this video sitting on my computer, no joke, for like 3 years. Me and Lonnie traded that AR-15 for that Lifan bike and ended up being a piece of junk. We did do a VIN check before going down and getting it, and it was clean. I worked at the dealership back at this time, so I had access to really good ways to check and make sure the VIN was clean. There was no loans on that VIN or anything. The bike just didn't have a title, and the guy screwed us on it pretty hard. He knew that there was that wiring issue, obviously, and it was just horrible. So what I ended up finding out was that Lifan, after wasting probably 30 hours messing with this bike, I'd mess with it. A couple months later, I'd bring it back in the garage and play with it, and it was absolutely driving me crazy because I know wiring quite a bit. I've done it ever since I was like 14, and I could not get this bike to run no matter what I did. So I just thought I was defeated by this thing Well, it turns out the guy messing with this thing, for whatever reason, they started rewiring this bike. Every bit of the electronic was fried on the bike. So the ECU, the stator, every single piece of this bike was fried. So didn't find that out till actually 3 years later. I just didn't know what I was doing and couldn't get the thing running, which was crazy because, again, I've wired a ton of things. I've wired full, you know, multi-$1,000 vehicles. You know, did like $4,000 worth of wiring work on people's vehicles and never had something defeat me. This bike did, but wasn't my fault. So a body shop close to me called me. I know them really good, or it's actually a car dealership, 68 Motors. If you're in the local area, they sell affordable cars. They do finance and everything. They're great people, awesome people to know, so go check them out. But they called me about this this bike that they had that had a salvage title but no engine, that they bought from the auction to get the engine off of to fix a good titled bike. I know it's going to get crazy, so trying to explain it really simple. So we went and picked it up, so now we can finally pull the engine off our bike, put it on this new one, put a new stator in it, and hopefully have a good titled bike to ride around. So on the next video, we'll get it pulled in here and we'll strip it all apart and we'll get that thing running. We'll do a engine transplant. So just wanted to I didn't want to delete this video footage. I was real close to deleting it a while back, and I was like, I might as well edit it up, but I didn't want to edit it up until the vehicle was done. So now everything's completely finished, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out the links in the description below, rbgkarts.com, if you want any merch. Not this hat, we'll be bringing this hat back later, but we do have the RBG Gusset logo shirts and stickers. We're going to have some products up for sale real quick on there, so stay tuned and watch out on our website. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to always use Go Power Sports for any mini bike and go-kart parts, because they do help the channel out, and use that discount code RBG on GeneratorFactoryOutlet.com on any Duramax product, and you get 20% off. Go pick you up a 440 big block, baby. But thank you guys for watching. We love you, and God bless.